Today I'll show you the amazing transformation in our garden from today at the beginning of June until now at the end of June. Excuse me, bud. If you've seen any of my summer videos before, you know it looks like a food jungle back here in midsummer. And though the garden looked very pretty at the beginning of June, it's now starting to quickly morph into that wild jungle look when the garden is at its peak of productivity. The month of June started with overcast skies, which we had more than our fair share of this spring. Fortunately, the sun returned on June 3rd, and the garden responded with a burst of growth. The vertical metal pipes you see are stakes for our single-stemmed indeterminate tomatoes. And on June 6th, I added a couple more for tomatoes that needed support. Though the stakes seem quite tall, the tomatoes will easily grow to the top before the summer is over. On June 7th, I set up trellises for the rest of our indeterminate tomatoes. Though they're 8 feet tall, the tomatoes will reach the top in no time. June 8th marked the start of 3 days of rain. I don't talk much about watering the garden in my videos. We get enough rain that we don't have to water often. And of course, mulch helps reduce watering requirements too. When we do have to water, we use a garden hose, as you'll see later. After all that rain, the sun returned again on June 13th. In general, you won't see me working much in the garden over the month of June. The reason is simple. There isn't much work to do. We harvest, do a little succession planting, prune suckers on single-stemmed indeterminate tomatoes, and water every now and then. That's about it. On the 15th, I mulched a few beds with the last of our autumn leaves, and I watered the garden in anticipation of 3 very hot days. On the 16th, I braved the heat and shot a video on growing lettuce. Some of you noticed Oscar wasn't out there with me. The truth is, he doesn't work when it's hot, and I wouldn't either if I was wearing that coat. June 17th and 18th were also very hot, with temperatures in the mid-90s or around 35 Celsius. At this point, you can see our 2 summer squash plants, which were too small to see at the beginning of the time lapse. And the Sunchokes, which were about knee-high at the start of the month, are now about 5 feet tall. They'll grow to 12 feet or 3.7 meters before the first frost. June 21st, the first day of summer, marked the beginning of another 2 days of rain, which was welcome after the heat wave. The sun returned on the 23rd, and on the 24th I shot a video tour of our perennial fruit crops, pears, berries, and grapes. I also played a little guitar, but you can't see that in the time lapse. There was more sunshine on the 25th and more rain on the 26th. Now you can see why I don't have to water so often. As we approach the end of the month, the vertical growth in the garden is getting more impressive, with the Sunchokes approaching the top of the frame. The only plants that are getting smaller are the potatoes. They're starting to die back, which means the potatoes will be ready to harvest soon. To wrap up the month, I watered the garden for the second time ahead of another major heat wave. Now to better see the transformation, here's the garden on June 30th, and here it is on June 1st. But I think Oscar can do a better job of showing the difference. Here's Oscar chilling in his pretty garden on June 1st, and here he is on the 30th, king of the food jungle. Thanks, Oscar. I hope you enjoyed this quick look at how our garden changed over the month of June. I'll be back with more videos soon, showing the garden's progress in much more detail, including a look at all of the plants that we started early under cover to see how they're doing now. If you'd like to see more time-lapse videos like this, please let me know in a comment below.